Thank you, Terrell. Thank you. That was lovely. So kind of funny, as I was preparing for this, there's two wonderful little booklets out in our bookstore. One is for Lent, and we're going to be following that for the next 6 weeks or so. And then this one is Mornings with Myrtle. And so Myrtle has a prayer on one side, and then there's somebody beautiful in the Unity Movement who joins with a prayer. And I knew I was looking for it, and I was talking to Sandy, and I'm like fluffing through my papers, and I've got In the Garden, which she's going to share with you in a little while. But today we're going to be talking about coming apart for a while. And for some of us, we may say, what does that mean? That sounds like you got to pick up the pieces, that maybe something's wrong. And what I can share in a very personal experience, almost this weekend, because when's St. Patty's Day? 17th. So 2017, St. Patty's Day, I was at Unity Village with my minister, Richard Burdick, who was being ordained in the Unity Movement after he'd been doing all of his work. And it was St. Patty's Day weekend, and he and his wife were going to renew their vows. They were going to renew their vows. And so we were sitting in the back like little children because we wanted to go to the St. Patty's Day festival. And so we were like, hurry up and say I do, Richard, we're ready to go. So as soon as they did their little kiss the bride sort of thing, he looked in the back and he's like, go! So we all headed to downtown Kansas City. But I share this because while we were there was a wonderful gentleman who was taking us around to see the village. And if you've never been and you have an opportunity to go, it's like, for me, walking on holy ground. Like really rich. There's Myrtle's gardens, there's the fountains, there's all this. You can just imagine how many people over the course of 100 years have walked these grounds. All truth seekers, all in a place that they are coming together of like-mindedness, challenging each other, looking at different ways of how we can be who we are in the Unity Movement. And so I was doing this tour with my group, and literally I heard, come apart for a while. And this little ego of mine said, no, I'm with my friends, and I want to see Silent Unity, and I want to do the tour. And I heard, no, come apart for a while. And I thought, okay, do you ever get that? You'll stomp your feet? Okay. So I went to the garden. It's by a tower, and it's called the 12 Power Garden, the 12 Power Prayer Garden. And it was March, and the winds were blowing, and the sun was out. And I went to each one of the 12 powers. And then I sat there on the bench with that sun streaming into me. And unbeknownst to me, Reverend Richard was across the way, and he said, I watched the whole thing. And I knew something was being downloaded into you. And at that moment, I had no idea what was going on. But yes, that's exactly when I received my call to become a Unity ordained minister. So just recognizing when you get that still small voice that says, come apart for a while, I'm suggesting take that invitation in. For there's something more for you to do, something grand for you to do, something that maybe only your imagination has held for you to do. And now it's time. Listening to the strumming of the guitar, allowing the song to just float in and through our mind. Inviting ourselves to just be open. As things in our life change form, sometimes we hold so tight. Sometimes there may be a feeling of fear of the unknown, not trusting that we will be fully supported in whatever the new looks like. Today in our heart space, I invite us to hold anyone going through a transition. That might mean the death of a loved one. It might mean a move. It might be just the uncertainty of what lies ahead. So let's take this opportunity to support ourselves. That might look like a gentle self-hug. Just put your arms around your waist. Maybe you move back and forth, as if you're just holding your best friend. I got you. I got you in this time, this space. I got your back. Let us know as we move forward, there is no separation of that spirit that is always guiding us, open and available, understanding us at a deeper level, that we might trust, that we might be assured, that we might hold confidence in ourselves, that whatever is on our heart space, whatever is before us, is absolutely perfect along this journey. So let's take a few moments in the silence. I'll invite you to take another breath in and release and go a little deeper. And let's just take a few moments to bask in that support. I am that courage. I am that spark of the divine. I am that understanding friend for me and all others. I walk my path in peace, with a gentle knowing that I am fully supported, and that when I have the call to come apart for a while, it is merely so that I might return to that inner spiritual flow that is ever present, reminding me just how special I am, just how special we all are, being called right now to do the very work we are doing, to celebrate great joys, and to hold the hands of a loved one going through a challenge. Know that you are not alone here today, that we are all connected on this journey. We delight in and with each other as we are filled from the inside out. We hold this to be true. These gifts of love and compassion, understanding, and our willingness to be open to the new that is being birthed each and every day for each and every one of us. And for this we say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Ever a child and you laid down on Mother Earth and you looked up at those bright blue skies and you saw those clouds forming shapes and you just basked in it. Like we were innocent and we were free and there was no grocery shopping and no bills to pay. And what we did is we laid and we saw the clown faces and we saw the little animals that were created. And we felt that sunshine and we were free. Do you remember that? I love the visual that came with that song. Thank you. And then the whole part about, like, let us get back to it. What is this all about? Sometimes the world feels like it's going in one direction and I'm not going in that direction. You been there? Done that? And then all of a sudden you're looking out and you're saying, what is the whole purpose? Like, why am I even here? And that invitation is, go back to center. Be guided. Feel into, I call that holy sanctuary, that place where God already is. And we tap back into it because we're the ones running around in chaos, allowing other influences to be our guide versus going down in center and quiet and saying, I got this. I know this. I got this. So I want to share a little fun with you today. A little morning prayer you don't even have to close your eyes for because it's very short and very sweet. I thought I stole this from Reverend Edwin Gaines, but I found it in another place on the internet too. It starts like this. Dear Lord, oh, dear humble Lord, your servant here. So far today I've done all right. I haven't gossiped. I haven't lost my temper. I haven't been greedy or grumpy, nasty, selfish, or overindulgent. But in a few minutes, I'm going to get up out of bed. And then I'm going to be needing your help. Amen. Oh, it is the season of Lent and all those things we are ready to give up on. We can do this releasing anything that looks unlike love. That overindulgence. Someone mentioned to me the other day, I'm giving up chocolate. I went, why? Sometimes we do self-care. And on my path of self-care, chocolate is part of it. Now, I'm the milk chocolate girl. The dark chocolate goes for other people. And there needs to be a nut in there because I got to break it up some, right? So everybody has their favorite little something that gets them through the hard times, the challenging times, the chaotic times. And then we get out of bed. And we face a new day. And how we face that new day, whatever is coming forward and springing forth in the newness, the new light of day, that is who we are going to be on that day. Each and every day, we have the opportunity to begin anew. I was thinking, in our little Lent book, I want to share what Reverend Doug Doer says. The God of our understanding is always present and comforting when we pause. Back in the day when I was learning how to speak in front of everybody, they'd call it the holy pause. That moment where you take a little time out, adult time out. You take that pause, consciously entering the garden of our soul and listen sweetly to the comfort and connection of the universe. So imagine if you have not walked our 12-power prayer path here, there's a few steps and then a beautiful tiled path. And it has each one of our 12 powers on it. Things like love, understanding. And when you walk this path and you're surrounded by all of our greenery, which is becoming more and more plush as spring has awakened here, you can look out across and see the playground where the children play. You can look to the other side and see our meditation garden. And in our meditation garden, there has been a bench. And on the bench, there is a prayer or it's a memory of someone who's made their transition. But there's this holy pause that takes place in our gardens. And I've had many people come to me over my 5 years of being here and said, do you know, I used to work in those gardens, or I still work in those gardens. And I can feel like these are sacred grounds, like there's a healing by putting my hands in the dirt, and I can see immediately something that has changed by the work I'm doing. Sometimes we get in our heads, and we're so up here in the air intellect, we forget to be in our body and feel the very presence of spirit that resides in each one of us. And many people tell me they can feel it in our gardens. They can feel it in our gardens. I look in my backyard, and this morning I was in my lanai having a cup of coffee. I got the sprinklers going. It's very relaxing. And when I get off TikTok, it's more relaxing. So I'm sitting out there, and I have this big black Bernese dog. She's 85 pounds. And I have this little green swing, and it's definitely big enough for me. But she just gets on up there like she wanted to people. And she sits right beside me, plops down, looks at me like, what are you doing, Mom? What are you doing, Mom? And I see, and the sprinklers are going, so there's that little tinkling of water against the screen. And the sun is out, and it's cooler this morning. You know, I like that. You know, we Georgia girls, we North Georgia girls, we like that. So I'm watching, and this cardinal comes and rests in one of the trees, and now my big white dog, the Great Pyrenees, the 120-pound Pyrenees, his ears perk up. I'm like, no, don't touch the cardinal. Someone's visiting us today. Do you ever feel that? When the birds come to talk to you, when the bees start pollinating, when the flowers begin to lift up in the sunshine. And then we have, in Florida, the very unique lizard kingdom. The lizard kingdom in my house lives near the tomato plants. It lives near the tools in the shed. It lives all around the backyard. And I'm grateful for the lizards because what do? They eat the other bugs. So now you're out there enjoying this time of the holy pause, that time that we come apart from our regular everyday schedule. Are you able to create a little time in your life, maybe 15 minutes, a cup of coffee, tea, if that's your thing? Are you able to create 20 or 30 minutes of reading something that kind of puts your mind at ease? Something you can reflect on. Something that you can say, you know, I got a whole day packed with everything, but not right now. In this moment, I'm going to honor that holy pause, that connection to my God self, and I'm going to be amazed at what is before me. It's simple. Anyone take a walk along the beach early in the morning? I know we have some people here. Their condo overlooks the water. I know some of us have a park beside us. We like to walk where the deer play. I know one of us at least walks our neighborhood over and over and over again, that all the neighbor dogs even want to come and join you when you're taking that walk. They greet you with the barks and the yaps, and that little cat that hides that you're not supposed to know she's there because she's independent. So when we take that moment out of the busyness that we create, how does that feel? How does your body feel? Sometimes I think we just rush and we forget how that body feels. When I came out of the banking industry 27 years long, I was very much in a headspace. And a good friend of mine in Marietta said, let's go to the Y and let's do, what is that exercise that old folks do? Water aerobics. And I'm going to tell you, that's not for old folks. Because we younger folks in that middle baby boomer age, that kicked my butt. And you got to wear shoes in the pool. Who wears shoes in the pool? Well, we had like an Army drill sergeant up there. Yes, ma'am. And what I learned after we would, really work those waves and do all the things she told us to, we would go in the deep end at the very end of the class, right after class. And we'd float on a noodle. And I was so happy. And then what I recognized is I had not felt into my body for years. I had been all up here. Anyone relate? All up here, busy, creating, manifesting, answering orders, paying attention to directions. And all of a sudden, come on, fess up, who were our mer people when you were a child? You played under those waves in the pool and you did circles and you did flips. Did you do it? Did you jump off the diving board and boom? And all of a sudden, all those waves and all that water is rushing in to support you. And you're in your moment. That we're not just mind, we are body and we are spirit. We are all of it. So how do we bring that together in our daily practice? We may have an instant. If you take that 15 minutes aside, whether it's your cup of coffee or watching the sprinkler, or maybe your favorite times at night. Do we have lightning bugs here? No. What, do you have fireflies here? No fireflies and no lightning bugs? Well, it depends on what part of the country you're from. But I'm thinking maybe the fertilizers have killed them or something. Because if you watch at a certain time, I can go to Chestnut Park as the sun is coming down behind the trees, and there's a time it can look like fire red, like a glow, like it's just absolutely spectacular. And then you know you have less than 15 minutes to get out of the park and the alligators. So we have the opportunity, whether it's early daytime or later in the evening when you're quieting down. And then Eric Butterworth said, if you are at a stoplight, if you are at a traffic light, and you take 15 seconds, breathe in, breathe out. We give ourselves permission to reset. We give ourselves permission to go back into that connection that is already within us, but we haven't been paying attention. How does that feel? How does that feel? And since we're in the season of Lent, one of the things that I would like to release is confusion. Would you like to release confusion? When there's so many things coming at us and we're not sure what our decision should be and where to go, what if you took that moment and reset? Maybe it's easier to write it down. Here's my pros, here's my cons. Sometimes it's easier, strum it in a music, in a lyric. Maybe you want to daydream and lay on the earth and watch the clouds go by without interference, so that we can truly go within ourselves and say, I know this. All I have to do is trust that inner guidance. Let go of what everybody wants around me and let me go deeply into my center and breathe in and breathe out. I got this. I got this. Let us let go of the confusion that wants to stir things up and instead cultivate a place that we can take a pause, that holy pause, that time out, and say, I got this. I might need a minute, but I got this. And our wisdom says, through our experience, we have an opportunity to review what's going on before us. And is this how we want to show up? Is this the answer for me today, or does it look a little differently? Because I have a new viewpoint. I've been exposed to something different. And that inner kingdom within will guide us. It will guide us and clear the confusion. Reverend Suzanne Carter in the Lent book says, when confusion arises, it's a sign that we've lost touch with our inner guidance of the divine presence within us. We've lost touch because we're allowing something outside of ourselves to direct our ways, versus going within and saying, is this true for me? Does this feel right for me right now? Right now. Reverend Michael Jamison says, when expectations are not met, discouragement rises and hope drops. When expectations are not met, discouragement rises and hope drops. Sometimes a setback will discourage us so much that we do not want to try again. And then what surprised me, he said, this is good. This is good. I'm like, that's not good. If I don't have hope, what do I have? And he said, but this is good. If by trying again we intend to use the same failed strategy, point, doing the same thing while expecting different results adds frustration to our discouragement. If we try to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, what is that called? Insanity. Of course we want a new strategy. It hasn't worked all these times. Why are we beating ourselves up? He says liberation from discouragement depends on dismissing failed assumptions, and it takes courage to discard the way things have been done before. So reaching for what is new has teetered us on the edge of transformation. We are entering the Easter season, And in this Easter season, Lent builds up to by releasing what no longer serves us, so that when we enter our own tomb of the holy pause for 3 days, we will come out birthed into the new. We will transform ourselves by the way we think, the way we react, the way we digest, the way that we bring back into the world what is true for us. And what I know is true for each one of us, we are designed to be here right now, during this time that may appear chaotic to the rest of the world, but we know what? We knew how to go to the holy pause. We knew how to go apart for a while. We know how to sustain ourselves and bring that hope back into the world, the one that we can see in our eyes of spirit. That place that we can say, you know, what has been no longer works for me. And I'm ready to transform who I am, how I think, and how I present myself in the world. For each and every one of us already has that God guidance, that wisdom center. And then what is our job? Not only use it, but bring it into the world, right? Our fifth principle in unity. We got all this good juice going on, and are you to save it in your own little holy spot? Or do you bring it out into the world? So I'm saying invite your friends. Come on, we're going to have a big celebration next weekend. We're going to have a wonderful Easter. And that opportunity for us to let go of anything that is unlike love. Let go of the confusion in your life because you already have everything you need. Let go of those things that discourage you, that make you say, I don't know if I can do this. Of course you can do this. Allow that download to be true for you. Allow yourself an opportunity to dance in the what if. The what if. I don't know. What is your what if? But if you don't do it, at the end of your day, will you be in that bedside with your favorite friends and go, I wish I had? No regrets. No regrets because you stepped out boldly and said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to step into this. I am called to do this. And I think each and every one of us are called right here, right now, to be a part of the movement on this planet Earth. Who you are makes a difference. So if you're not sure what's going on here today, you find somebody and go to lunch with them, because we have common ground. We have a place within each one of us that is already that holy space, that sanctuary from which we have all the spiritual tools that we need. Can you reach down in there and say, I am? Can I hear an I am? I am. I am a holy child of God. I am a holy child of God. I am a holy child of the Spirit. Oh, y'all are sounding like we in the Presbyterian church. Wake up, wake up. I am a holy child of God. I am a holy child of Spirit. That divine exists within me. And I share it with you. And so it is. Amen.